Hello, my name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. and I was born July 4th, 1986. Today, I just want to say up front that think about what it is that you're looking for. Think about your goals. Think about your mission. Think about what it is that you actually want to be able to do. 'Cause sometimes you may fall into the temptation that what you're doing is to try to get more validation for yourself outside of just giving God the validation and giving God the room and filling the room with Him, filling your message with trying to get closer to Jesus, try to understand who He is and what He's all about, instead of try to get more for yourself. That the moment that you are out there trying to gain popularity, reputation, income even from using God's name is a moment that you're just doing what everyone else is doing out there. And there's something that is just what I would say is wicked about doing such a thing. That Jesus himself was stop turning my church, turning my worship into, I forgot what he said with those exact words, but I'll get back to you on that. But in reality, just stop trying to sell your stuff to try to think that you're going to be the one to get income and get funds and get something from spreading the message of who God is. That God will bless you in other ways when you want to preach and talk about Him, but don't demand and expect and just put in you that things have to happen for you. That's not the way that God is. And if you're out here trying to talk a message about who God is and what God is all about and expecting for you to get fame, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. And God is trying to bring you back in and saying, hey, I'll give you some blessings over here, but you're not going to get blessings and try to take my glory. And God is very, very specific about that, because He says, don't put anything above me. Don't try to be any sort of, don't worship any other idols. And that's what you are putting your own self to be, is an idol to another person. If you're thinking that you're the one that wants the popularity, if you're thinking you're the one that wants the glory, if you're thinking that you're the one that wants the reputation and not giving it directly straight to God, and just you're the intermediate person here that's pushing them off to be able to actually get somewhere. And for me, something that I've just really come to realize is day one, that I think the main reason I can stay so determined, so focused, so passionate, so driven, so I don't know what else to say with that, but just so I want to do what I do, knowing that I want to be able to help out one person. And that one person still, to me, at the end of the day, is still even just my own self. That if I can help my own self out by doing something, saying something, being about something, that I think that's a pretty cool thing. But if someone else is able to hear something, see something I'm saying, and get a little inspiration, get a little bit closer to knowing who God is, I'm doing more than my job I could possibly even do out here. Because it's a cool thing that I don't have to run up to you on the streets in reality. Because I know that today, and in reality, I think that it's been like that in all of humanity. That it's hard to get to somebody like that without showing them like some sort of miracle. Because in reality, that's what Jesus had to do. That's what all the disciples had to do. They had to show massive miracles, bringing people back from the dead. They had to like heal people of their blind, heal people of their hearing issues, heal people of their diseases. And people had to see that. And then they're like, okay, I believe in Jesus now. And that's one way to be able to see Him, where I would say it's readily easy in reality to believe when you see somebody literally dead and you're like, hey, they've been dead for 4 days. And then He literally comes and just brings them up and you say, he's just asleep. He's all right. he just napping right now. And he literally brings them to life. It's so easy to believe in God at that moment. It's so easy for you to have some sort of problem in you, some sort of addiction in you, and then or not even you, but it could be you, but you see it in someone else, and someone lays hands on them, and all of a sudden they're no longer wheelchair bound, and they grow an extra limb, and they're able to walk around now. It's so easy to believe in God when it's a situation like that. But it's much more challenging when you're not able to do those miracles for somebody. That you have to say something to get God to get into them, so that they can get close to them, so that they're no longer feeling like they're alone. And when you're running up to someone on the street, it's difficult, because no one wants to hear it. Everyone is just like, I gotta go. I want to get out of here. I watch all this stuff. I watch all these performing. I call it street performers. It's the same thing. And I do what they do, and I just see people just like, shut up. You got to get to people when they, in reality, need it. And that's the beauty of what I think that we're able to do out here, as opposed to any other time in history. That we're able to get to you when you want the information. And when you want the information, you're going to go and find the information. And now you have an abundance to be able to find information on this YouTube, to be able to find someone that relates to you, that can speak to you, that can say something to you, to bring you out of where you're in. And that's why I think it's amazing to see such diversity with how everyone looks different. Everyone's a different age, different genders, different locations, different everything, so that you can find that person that's able to really speak to you. And there's some people out here that are looking for fame, looking for validation, and not realizing that you're helping some people out. And I know for a fact that you're helping some people out, and you need to slow down a little bit and start to just pay more attention to who God is and what he's using you for to be able to get what it is that you're looking for. Because a lot of times I do know this, that if I'm working on something so greatly that it's for me, I want all the glory, I want all the everything. It's so hard for me to get that. It's so hard for it to work out. It's so hard for anything to come of value of it, because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Especially when I want to try to preach a message to get you to be able to get closer to God. If I'm looking for all of it for myself, I'm hurting on this planet. I'm struggling on this planet, because in reality, the ones that were holding the ark and had the temple and all that, they didn't get paid. They took some from the collections of everyone out there, but they didn't have an abundance of living. They had enough to survive, and having enough to survive is, I'm going to say, probably more than enough, and well more than enough, because you need to understand what it is that you're doing here. That you're not out here worrying about trying to gain fame and gain wealth now, here today. You're doing that to be able to spread who God is. And that's what the fame that you want to push everyone to, the fame and the glory of God, because he's gotten you out of some things. He's gotten you out of problems. He's gotten you out of sticky situations. He's gotten you out of future things that you were thinking of doing, that something hit you. It was just like, yeah, don't do that. And you're like, all right. And then later on, you're like, yeah, I'm definitely, thank God I didn't do that, because where would I be if I would have been in that situation? That's the enough for you to really understand and know and realize who God is and what he's all about, and explain to people about that, instead of trying to just get something for your own self. And it's something that I did that for a little bit in my thinking, with like, I want more of this and more of this. But then I was just like, no, with everything on this planet, I do know when there's more, there's more. And I would rather be on the side of having more and not going into more problems. I want to have more and have more blessings, and have more to be able to give, and have more to be able to just help out someone so that they're not struggling. I don't want to have more just so I can have more issues that I don't know what to do with, and I don't know how to handle, and I don't know where to this and where to that. And that's where, for me, I want to make sure that I'm doing more for God to be able to do more for me. And I don't need you to give me anything and you to do anything for me. God's going to be able to do that for me. In some way, he's going to make it happen. In some way, he's going to continue to keep on happening. In some way, everything is just going to be able to work out with that. But today I want to read something, because yesterday I was talking about the understanding of God is here for us, but he's here for us when we are obedient and disciplined to him. He's not here for us when we're out here just being savage and doing whatever it is that we want to do. He's not here for us when we're out here just breaking all of his commandments and all of his laws and all of his decrees. I had to do a whole lot of reading today to just really get a good understanding and a better understanding and a more clear viewpoint of what each of these things are, or what's a decree and what's a law and what's a command, and realizing that there's a difference between each, and they're all just to say equal in reality, that we should be paying very, very close attention to on doing what it is that we're doing out here to make sure that we are able to stay obedient to God. And then when we stay obedient to God, that is how and when we're going to be able to have the blessings of God. But if we're out here doing things, trying to damage, trying to slander, trying to deceive, trying to lie, trying to manipulate, try to do all these things, we're not going to get anything. We're going to get destruction that's going to come to us. And that's where I have a very good understanding of, that's when the demons are going to come upon you. Because as soon as you start lying about some stuff, as soon as you start holding back on some stuff, that's when they're going to overflood you, and that's when you're going to go right back to some old things that you used to be on doing. Because you're not living a holy life. A holy life, a pure life, a clean life, a righteous life is not easy. But what's easy is collecting those blessings and being able to have an abundance for you to be able to live by. That's easy to have all that, but it's not hard to be able to get to that point, into a point where it's something that is actually helpful and helping. And there's a bunch of laws, and at some point I want to read it all, but I'm going to read through just some today to give you a very clear understanding of what if you've never heard of, you've only heard someone say you got to follow the commands. You've never heard of anyone talk about any laws, and you're like, there's no laws in that book. There's none of this in that book. That I want to read some of them so you can hear them. But I'm going to say this: as soon as you hear them That's a whole new transformational life now. Now, since you know the information, you can't go back and say, get down. Now you can't go back and say like, I don't agree with that and I don't want to do that. And even though that it's some of the stuff is difficult, but I'm going to read ones today that I'll say are not going to be so difficult to get you in an understanding of what's going on here. And in my opinion, they're all not so difficult when you ask God for assistance, when you're constantly praying and saying, I got this problem. How can I need to get through it. Show me how to be able to get through it. Show me how to be able to conquer it. Show me how to be able to replace it with something else so that I'm not fiending, I'm not needing, I'm not desiring, I'm not all up on it. And I'm not just gonna die if I don't have it. Show me something else to do. And that's when your life is really gonna start transforming, because the one thing I will say is God's not out here to just forget about you if you're not living by his laws and his commands. He's out here to help you be able to get to that. So, and he's not just gonna leave you be until you're finally just, I'm doing it all, because we're never gonna be perfect. And God knows that, but he's always constantly guiding us to be able to get to that level of perfection. So if you're struggling with something, he's gonna give you the information and the insight on how to be able to get out of that trouble, how to be able to get out of that situation. He's not here to just ignore you and just say, deal with it on your own. You'll figure it out. No, that's what a human being would say to you. I've heard that many times from a lot of people on this planet. You'll figure it out. You know, I ain't gonna do nothing for you. And it's just like, that's savage. And I would never, my own self would want to say that to a child of mine, of just, I see him struggling and just look at him and say that. But I've seen that and I've heard that and I've experienced that. And it's something that is not what God is. And God is all about, I see you struggling. You're struggling with that math problem? Let me help you out and through it. I'm not just gonna, you figure it out and once you get it done, then I'll praise you. No, I'm gonna praise you because you're considering to even attempt it. That's how God is. We're even trying. He's praising us for that. Because you're trying, you're putting in that effort. But if you just don't do and don't care, that's where you're gonna start running into a situation. When you go to the point of hearing and reading something, knowing that you shouldn't be doing, and you just say, I'm do what I wanna do. That's when God's like, oh, okay, buddy. And that's when those demons are gonna come upon you at that moment, because you're just completely running away doing what you're supposed to be doing. And something here, I wanna read something, and I wanna read, I guess quite a bit, but not quite a bit. Let's just see how fast I can be able to read through this and how smooth I'll be able to read it today, and that'll be able to judge what I'm able to read. But I want to talk about so Leviticus chapter 18 verse 1, and this is all about unlawful sexual relations. Something that I think all of us should know on this planet, and all of us should be aware of, and all of us should just have a good understanding of what is an acceptable relationship in a sexual way, and what is one that we should try to stay away from. I say try, but stay away from. But especially if you just can't, and you can't quit it, you gotta try. And you gotta start with just asking and praying and say, hey, I need some assist, I need some help. I need some help. Please help me, God. And I'm telling you, I'm guaranteeing you, promising you this, that he's gonna help you. And he's gonna bring you something, somewhere, in some situation to be able to get you to get out of what it is that you're doing. So I'm going to read some of this. I'm going to read this whole entire chapter, and more likely most of all of the 19th chapter as well. So Leviticus 18, the Lord said to Moses, speak to the Israelites and say to them, I am the Lord your God. You must not do as the Egyptians do in Egypt where you used to live. You must not do as they do in the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you. Do not follow their practices. You must obey the laws and be careful to follow my decrees. I am your Lord your God. Keep my decrees and laws, for the person who obeys them will live by them. I am the Lord. No one is to approach any close relative to have sexual relations. I am the Lord. Do not dishonor your father by having sexual relations with your mother. She is your mother. Do not have relations with her. Do not have sexual relations with your father's wife. That would be dishonor. That would dishonor your father. Do not have sexual relations with your sister, neither your father's daughter or your mother's daughter, whether she is born in the same household or elsewhere. Do not have sexual relations with your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter. That would dishonor you. Do not have sexual relations with the daughter of your father's wife, born to your father. She is your sister. Do not have sexual relations with your father's sister. She is your father's close relative. Do not have sexual relations with your mother's sister, because she is your mother's close relative. Do not dishonor your father's brother by approaching his wife to have sexual relations. She is your aunt. Do not have sexual relations with your daughter-in-law. She is your son's wife. Do not have relations with her. Do not have sexual relations with your brother's wife. That would dishonor your brother. Do not have sexual relations with both a woman and her daughter. Do not have sexual relations with either her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter. They are close relatives. That is wickedness. Do not take your wife's sister as a rival wife and have sexual relations with her while your wife is living. Do not approach a woman to have sexual relations during the uncleanness of her monthly period. Do not have sexual relations with your neighbor's wife and defile yourself with her. Do not give any of your children to be sacrificed to Moloch, for you must not profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. Do not have sexual relations with a man as one does with a woman. This is detestable. Do not have sexual relations with an animal and defile yourself with it. A woman must not present herself to an animal to have sexual relations with it. That is a perversion. Do not defile yourselves in any of the ways, because this is how the nations I am going to drive out before you have become defiled. Even the land was defiled, so I punished it for its sin, and the land vomited out its inhabitants. But you must keep my decrees and my laws. The native born and the foreigners residing among you. You must not do any of these detestable things, for all these things were done by the people who lived in the land before you, and the land became defiled. And if you defile the land, it will vomit you out as it vomited out the nations that were before you. Everyone who does any of these detestable things, such persons must be cut off from their people. Keep my requirements and do not follow any of the detestable customs that were practiced before you, and do not defile yourselves with them. I am the Lord your God. So a lot of that is just, nowadays, I would say, just normal. We don't do majority of everything here, because we look at it like it's no good. You do not mess with your brother or your sister. You do not mess with your first cousins. You do not mess with your aunts and uncles. You do not do any of that. So in today's day and age, it's considered like very, very, very sticky situation. Like that's that we like Jerry Springer type TV shows with stuff going on. We know in ourselves that we don't do that. But those are laws that God has stated for us to do. So even though it's normal and accustomed today that we don't do some of these things, there's laws in place that God has said. God has said that you don't have sexual relations when a girl is on her monthly period. It's just straight, easy to understand. Don't have sexual relations as a man with a man as a woman, and the same with a woman as a man with a woman. It's just straight up. It's just very, very simple. And if you're struggling with any of these, if you have this lust and this desire where there's sticky situations that go on nowadays where parents are, for some reason, messing with their children. If you have this desire in you and you don't know, Oreo, get down, and you don't know how to get rid of it, I'm telling you, I'm screaming to you, pray on God and ask God to help you get through it, because that's all of some wickedness that's being pushed into you. That it's some wickedness that's inside of you to just try to destroy you, to try and just bring you down. And then at the same time, in reality, it's wickedness that someone wants you to do to the next person whatever it is that has happened to you, to make them hurt just as much as you hurt. And you may not intentionally want to do some things, but you need to ask if you have any desires of you to break any of these laws. You have to do everything in your power to get away from it. And the best way to get away from it is to refrain from doing it. And the best way to refrain from doing it is by prayer, is by asking and praying and saying, I need help with this. I need help. And I need to figure out how to be able to get away from this, because this right here is not only just going to destroy me, but it's going to destroy the other person as well. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people pay enough of much attention to, where you're out there doing something, violating somebody else. You're out there doing something detestable to somebody else. and you know that you're messing up. You know that it's going to affect you, but you're not even putting it in your brain how much it's going to affect that other person, that it could destroy them for the remainder of their life because you take advantage of someone else. That is something that we have to do our best, absolute best, to not destroy somebody else because of issues that we have. There's one thing about having an addiction to like drugs, in a way. I mean, it can mess up some people, but not in the same type of way. To have addiction of alcohol, have addiction of gambling. You know, the most that you're going to end up doing and hurting other people is lying to them and stealing their money and stealing their resources and stuff like that, but not actually violating their body. Violating their body to the point that they now look at themselves as disgusting and look at themselves as unworthy, look at themselves as no one's ever going to want me because someone took advantage of them. When it comes down to breaking the laws of anything of the sexual relations, you are now destroying another human being in a way that is in reality, the way that it's stated in this section is nicer than in other sections, because some of these, it straight up says certain one of these you are to be put to death if you're doing some, because what you're doing is destroying someone else so much that it's so toxic. It's so evil. It's so evil. Like, I know that you're hurting with something, but hurting your own self is one thing, but hurting someone else because you're hurting is just absolute tragic. And that's something that we as a people have to figure out how the heck to get away from that. And more this that's going on is actually happening today. That at first I did say that it is normal that we don't do these, but yet I've noticed something different today, that there's a new push, just like recent, just this past years, that's kind of showing that some of this is just okay. And that's for me to just really look at the world and have a good worldly understanding that everything that goes on out here is just an attack to this Bible. Everything that's happening. If there's a fire somewhere, it's an attack to this Bible. If there's a flooding somewhere, there's an attack to this Bible. If there's a shooting somewhere, it's an attack to this Bible. Everything that I see is just that. And it's just, it's very, very unfortunate, because this text and these Bibles are the only way to be able to get out of the problems that are going on with you. So it's interesting that we want to try to attack it and try to make it seem as if it's such hateful things. For me to sit here and say like what's normal today is men marrying men, and for this to say that we don't do that's detestable. Someone would say that that's hate. And it's like, no, that's showing so much love, because God knows who we are. He created us. He knows what we're all about. He knows what's good and bad. He knows what's righteous and what's wickedness. He knows what's going to be able to prosper and what's going to fail. He knows what's going to be able to be a blessing or be a curse. He knows it all. So for him to say that, he knows the deep down core root of what's going on. And I like listening to a guy that he says something that is just very fascinating about that. He's like, you're doing good when everyone out there is validating you. So, yeah, go man, go girl, everything's good to go. You're good to go. But when you get deep down in bed, in your house, and no one's around, no one's saying nothing to you, he's like, I know for a fact you got something inside of you that is just that is burning, that is hurting, that is just, you need something more to try to get it to go away. And that's why I would say today there's this huge push for all of this, because you need more and more people to validate you for you to make it seem like it's good, it's acceptable, as opposed to realizing that there's something missing, there's something lacking, there's something off. There's something that is confused there, that you're missing something, and you're looking for it, and you're looking for it in the wrong things. You're looking for it in the wrong direction. What you need to start looking for it is from God, to be able to help you and guide you, to be able to get you in the right way. Just because someone today on this planet would validate you and make you seem like everything is great, that excitement level starts to go away, and it just starts to just deplete, and it's going to just go to the point that you're going to start to be angry. And that's what God is helping us and guiding us to get away from. That anger, that frustration, that hate, that rage. It's like, I know that doing that is going to lead you there. So he wants to get us to get out of that. And it's not for me to say, I don't this and I don't that. No, he knows way more than what I ever will. He knows way more than what any psychologist, doctor, lawyer, anything on this planet possibly knows. God knows it all. And he wrote this here hundreds of generations before we are here today. Hundreds and hundreds. And it's very, very interesting of the information that's stated here and seeing where we're at today. Now I want to continue reading here some. I've read this one day at one time, but I want to read this again, just so you get an understanding. And this section here is called Various Laws in the chapter 19. And I'm going to go down some. Down to verse 9. When you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap the very edges of your field. Do or gather the gleanings of your harvest. Do not go over your vineyard a second time or pick up the grapes that have fallen. Leave them for the poor and the foreigner. I am the Lord your God. Do not steal. Do not lie. Do not deceive one another. Do not swear falsely by my name and so profane the name of God. I am the Lord. Do not defraud or rob your neighbor. Do not hold back the wages of a hired worker overnight. Do not curse the deaf or put stumbling blocks in front of the blind, but fear your God. I am the Lord. Do not pervert justice. Do not show partiality to the poor or favoritism to the great. Do not but judge your neighbor fairly. Do not go about spreading slander among your people. Do not do anything that endangers your neighbor's life. I am the Lord. Do not hate a fellow Israelite in your heart. Rebuke your neighbor frankly so you will not share in their guilt. Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against anyone among your people, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. Keep my decrees. Do not mate different kinds of animals. Do not plant your field with two kinds of seed. Do not wear clothing woven of two kinds of material. If a man sleeps with a female slave who is promised to another man, but who has not been ransomed or given her freedom, there must be due punishment. Yet they are not to be put to death because she has not been freed. The man, however, must bring a ram to the entrance of the tent in the meeting, guilt offering for the Lord. With the ram of the guilt offering, the priest is to make atonement for him before the Lord for the sin of his committed, and the sin will be forgiven. When you enter the land and plant any kind of fruit tree, regard its fruits as forbidden. For 3 years they are to be consider it forbidden, and they must not be eaten. In the 4th year, all of its fruits will be holy, and an offering to praise to the Lord. But the 5th year you may eat its fruits. In this way your harvest will be increased. I am the Lord your God. Do not eat any meat with the blood still in it. Do not practice divination or seek omens. Do not cut the hair at the sides of your head or clip the edges of your beard. Do not cut your bodies for the dead or put tattoo marks on yourselves. I am the Lord. Do not degrade your daughter by making her a prostitute, or the land will turn to prostitution and be filled with wickedness. Observe my Sabbath days and have reverence for my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Do not turn to mediums or seek out spiritists, for you will be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. Stand up in the presence of the aged, show respect for the elderly, and revere your God. I am the Lord your God. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, as you are foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Do not use dishonest standards when measuring length, weight, or quantity. Use honest scales and honest weights, and honest ephah and an honest hin. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt. Keep all my decrees and all my laws and follow them. I am the Lord. It's all very, sorry guys. It's all very straightforward in reality. That it's some things that we should just not do, some things we do, some things we stay away from, some things we should push further and further into. And it's something that I don't know. You know, I didn't really know in reality. I didn't know that there was laws. I didn't know there was decrees, and I didn't know there was commands, and I didn't know that there was a difference, and I didn't know that any of it even really mattered. I knew there's some commandments. The main one of like, don't murder. And that was something that I just always have known my entire life in reality. But there's other things in here that are required of us that we must do to stay obedient and to stay disciplined for what God is looking for us to do. And once we are staying and doing all of that, that's when he's going to start blessing us. But beforehand, we're living in such disobedience that there's just no way that he's going to be able to bless us and to give us and bring us anywhere. There's things that are required upon us that we have to do. Some things that are required upon us that we have to pay very, very close attention to. Or get down. You're not going, homie. You're not going. So stop even looking. Get yourself out of it. right now, a lesson to you is a lesson to all of us. If you have a problem with seeing something that you want, seeing something that you desire, knowing that it's not good for you, look away, get out of it. Oreo, look away, get out of it. Don't even pay attention to it. Force yourself to look away. Force yourself to get out of it. Because the more that you just keep on staring at it, the more that you just keep on focusing on it, the more that you're going to end up just messing up. You're going to end up running and doing and going right into it, knowing that you didn't want to do it. Knowing that it was going to get you in a sticky situation, knowing that it was going to challenge you, knowing that it was going to slow you down, knowing that it would even destroy you, knowing that it could even kill you. So if there's something that is just of high value that you're just like, oh my goodness, I want to do that, look away, get away, do everything you can to just go the opposite direction and realize that you know it's there, but still just go away and stop focusing on it. Do something different, go somewhere else, make something else happen, pray upon it, ask more, look to God more, lean on God more, instead of just focusing so much in it. That's why today it's such an interesting thing that I could say something right here that I know can help so many people out with a whole lot of with drinking any sort of alcohol. That when you decide to stop, you're going to be able to do it, but you're going to keep getting all these cues and all these triggers and all this stuff everywhere. And the one way to stop that is stop watching TV. If you got cable TV, shut it off, cancel it, get rid of it. Because every 15 seconds, there's going to be something that's going to every 2 seconds, there's something to show you to keep on drinking, to keep on drinking. You're going to be watching a TV show and someone's going to pass a beer. As soon as that does, that's a subliminal message going into your brain of like, yep, let me keep doing that. Let me just do it. And you're going to start building up. It's going to start off, yeah, I'm good. And then you're going to start, it's just going to start building inside of you and start going wild inside of you. It's going to start just going on rampage mode like, I need it. When you see someone on TV that's smoking, you're just like, I need it. You're watching videos of people that are doing it. Stop even watching anything everywhere. Cut it, cancel it, exit it out of your life to be able to help you be able to get through it. Stop thinking that you're that tough, you're that powerful, that I could be around it, I'll be all right. If you stop drinking and it's been just a couple of days, don't think I'm going to go to the bar and hang out with my buddies and watch them drink and I'm not going to drink. I'm tough. No, you're not tough. You're not that strong. You don't have that much willpower. Fantastic book to read is called Willpower. And read that book to get a real good understanding of how things work out here and how we are as people and how things challenge us and how we only have so much each day that you're just going to get broken down to the point that you're going to give in. And you don't want to put yourself in that situation to give into it. You want to figure out how to be able to get out of it, get away from it, get from it, and realize that that's the only way that you're going to be able to start that process. Stop thinking that it's going to be so easy to just still stay in it but not do it. That's why you got to get rid of a lot of people that you used to know. If most cases, your circle of friends do everything you do. So if you want to stop doing what they do, you got to get the heck away from them. Most cases, your family does everything that you don't want to do. So you got to do what you got to do to get away from them, to go off and do something different. And then there will become a time in the day that it's all right. Everything's just chill. That you can come back and introduce yourself and everything will be all right. But up front, in the beginning, you can't put yourself in it. You can't think that you're going to be tough and be strong because they're going to pull you right back inside. They're going to pull, the draw is powerful, especially when it comes to a lot of these substances out here, because the people themselves are living a life of, I don't care and it's fine and I'm good to go. So they're going to keep on pushing it on you, pushing it on you, pushing it on you. They're not going to let you go. They're going to say, oh, you just one drink, man, you be all right. You know, you haven't been doing it for a little bit. One won't mess you up. One won't slow you down. One won't destroy you. And one turns into, now you're doing it behind scenes. Now you're trying to do it undercover. Now you're trying to do it in secret. And then it just comes right back to the public again because you can't, hey, Oreo, come here. Come here. Get down. You're doing it in private. It's going to come to the public because you're going to end up messing up. Oreo. Get over here. No, Johnny, get down. Oreo. Oreo, get up. Over here. Oreo. Yep. Yep. Johnny, down. Oreo, down. There we go. That's a better spot. You know you ain't moving from there. Johnny, down. I'm just trying to help him out. He got a thing with chasing the dog and wanting to chase it. I mean, I let him do it, but I let him do it when I tell him he could do it. That I don't want him to mess up, and I got to get him to get out of it. I got to explain to him that I know what you want to do. I know where you want to go, but you're not doing that right now, right here. And it's for me being in the leadership of my dog to explain that to him. The same way that it's in the leadership of God to explain to us. And we got to do some things to be able to get that assistance from him. We got to ask him. We got to look for help from him. Same way that I know my dog is always looking, because he's just constantly, he's creeping, but he's kind of looking at me like, is okay. It's like, no, I'll guide you. I'll help you. You may not like it. You may not like it. You're like, I like doing that though, man. I want to go do that. But you're not going to like when I say, no, you got to stay here. You're not going to like when I have to say, don't take this literal, but put a leash on you, on the dog, but onto yourself, but put a leash upon you to pull you away, to say you're not doing that. That's something that God is going to do to us. He's going to put something on us to pull us away. You said you don't want to do it, so let me get you to go over here and do this instead. To be able to help us, to be able to guide us, to be able to bring us into being able to live by his laws, being able to live by his commands, be able to live by his decrees, so that we can be able to have the blessings of God. And it's something that we are required. I'm going to say this a million times, hopefully, before the day I pass away on this planet. Because I want to say it a million more times, that there are things that are required. That my Bible keeps stating that over and over and over and over again. Just believing that Jesus is here and he saved you, and putting that in your heart, that is not being able to get the blessings of God. That is not being able to understand who God is. That is not being able to get the wisdom of God. That is not being able to get anything. That is in reality, in how this is stated, that's pretty much meaningless in reality, without paying attention and sticking by and living by the laws. Living by the laws is the way to live on this planet. Living by the decrees is living on this planet. Living by the commandments is how we live on this planet. Any other way is living through your flesh to try to make yourself think that everything is okay, everything is acceptable, everything is just all right. And that's not the case. There's like almost 99.9% of the stuff out here that we're just not supposed to be paying any attention to. And for some reason, 99.9% of the stuff out here is trying to draw us in and force us in and make us and desire us and just get all inside of us to make us want to do it. And today it's pushed more and more. Everything that goes on with both of these law sets right here that I'm reading is pushed to us. Oh, it's okay to lie, just a little one, it's all right. Oh, it's okay to deceive it, just a little bit, it's all right. Oh, it's okay to I go wild with that. It's okay to mess with your stepsister. It's not like she's actually your sister. She's from somewhere else. She's this, she's that. And it's like, no, this is unacceptable. This is stuff that we shouldn't be doing. Stuff that we shouldn't be dabbling with. Stuff that we shouldn't be thinking is just normal. Stuff that we have to understand what is normal. And God tells us what's normal. God tells us what's natural. Natural is a better word than normal. What's natural? Everything out here is natural. People come at me and say, oh, sometimes the males of the animals take care of the kids. It's like, yes, but they've always done that. It's not like they just changed at one moment. It's not like the females did it at one moment and then now there's a shift where they had a protest and then now the males do it. No, they were born, raised, created to be like that and to do that. And there's things that us as humans were born, raised, created to do that are natural. And we have to stick to that. And God explains to us how to be able to do that. And God explains to us what is natural and what is unnatural. God explains to us what is righteous and what is wickedness. He explains all of that to us. And the only way you're going to find that peace inside of you is by listening to what it is that he's saying that is natural and not natural. We have no choice but to pay attention to that. We have no choice but to live by it. We have no choice but to do everything in our power to be on board with that. Because otherwise, as soon as you start trying to get away from that and start to think that, no, that doesn't really matter, that's when the demons are going to start to come into you. And it's not no enemy. God does that. Because it's something that I don't think a lot of people pay very, very close attention to. God controls it all. There's no entity out here that is greater than the supreme being of God. So everything works beneath him. Everything works for. Everything is working even against. But it's not more powerful than. And that's something that I think we get a new message today of, oh, the devil is this and the devil is that and the incubus and the succubus and they're so powerful this. No, God is way more powerful than any spirit, any demon, any human, any animal, any essence, anything on this planet. And when you call upon God, all that is nothingness. And all these demons and all this stuff is just stuff to just give to people as an excuse. We're just giving people excuses on why you keep failing. No, you keep failing because you're failing. You're not failing because something is this and something is that. No, you're failing. You're failing. Is it easy to get over some things? Heck no. It's not like it was easy for me to just quit smoking weed. That wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. That wasn't just, oh, I just quit. No, hallelujah, here I am. No, it wasn't like the days when Jesus was walking around just healed me of my addiction and just pulled it away. No, it was one of the hardest things I had to do on this planet. It wasn't easy to quit drinking alcohol. It wasn't easy. It was one of the hardest things I had possibly had to do on this planet. It's not simple to just quit that stuff. But if you want to figure out how to be able to get closer to God, you have to force and demand yourself to change. You have to force it away. You got to get it away. You got to do everything in your power to say, I don't care what's out there. I want this for my life. That's what I said to myself, that I want to stop smoking because I want this out of my life, because I want to be able to see clearly. I want to be able to understand clearly. I want to get out of this fog. I want to get out of this fake manipulated states of thinking that I need this. I got sick and tired of the desire of just like, I can't survive if I don't have it. If I don't have it, I'm going crazy of like, oh my goodness, I'm so anxiety ridden and going to an extreme depression. And I just got sick of it. And I was like, I don't want this. But every single time I try to quit, it's just pulling me back in. And I'm just, it was the hardest stuff to do. It's not some simple stuff. It's not me just sitting here and acting like, oh, I just got rid of that. That was nothing. Why are you still struggling? No, I know it's going to be the hardest thing in your life to do. The hardest thing. If you've been a person that's been doing masturbation since childhood, and you 30, 40 years old, it's going to be one of the hardest things for you to possibly stop doing on this planet. The hardest thing. You're not just going to wake up and just, oh, I'm good to go. No, every single thing out there is going to tempt you. Every single thing. And it doesn't even matter if girls or guys with clothes on are going to start to tempt you. It's not even nakedness. Like everything is going to tempt you to go into it again, to be a part of it again, and continue to keep on doing it. Everything. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be some of the hardest stuff that you're ever going to have to possibly do on this planet. And that's why it's a fantastic thing, because that's why and what God is all about. He wants us to do our best to get away from that. You're going to be perfect? No. But we need to do our best and understand that that is wrong, that is not right, that we have things that are wrong and things that are right, that are natural out here for us to do. And he's not expecting perfection. But once you start to push it further and further away, you're going to realize that things get easier and easier and easier. It's like for me today, for someone to try to tell me to start smoking something, it's no, I don't care. It's so simple today. But 2, 3, 4 days after, when I decided to stop, heck no, I don't want to be anywhere near it. And if I could smell it anywhere, I'm just like running the heck away. Like, I'm not going to get back into that again. It's not easy. But the further and further you start to get away from it, the more that you put the discipline in yourself to make the decision that I got to stop this. I want to stop this. The more that you're going to be able to have, I don't know what word to use right there. The power to just stay away from it. But you gotta fight it. And that's the whole thing of fasting. A lot of people get stuck on fasting and think of food. Fasting is any and everything that's going on out here. Fasting is, I'm smoking too many cigarettes. I want to stop for 3 days. Just chill for 3 days. Give me 3 days, and then I'll start up again. And fasting is, I want to quit the drinking. Let me stop for 5 days. Just 5 days. It's gonna suck. I'm gonna struggle, but I know in that 6th day though, I'm gonna be drinking, or even that fifth day night, I'll be drinking. But 5-day fast, 5-day fast, 5-day fast. Stop watching any sort of porn. Let it go. Drop it off. Shut it down. 5 days, and just 5 days. Say, I'm not doing that. Fasting is not only food. Fasting is all of these things that we're struggling with, all of these things that are hurting us and slowing us down. Anything that you have in you that you're like, you got this calling to do it, or you won't be able to be happy. It's a negative draw to you. It's negative forces in you. It's the power of your disobedience in you. You need to get that out of you. You need to get away from that. You need to run away from that. You need to do everything in your power to quit that. And it's not always just it could be food. It could be eating too much or not eating enough. It could be working out, not doing enough or doing too much. It could be anything. There's an unlimited amount of things out here that you need to have a good understanding of knowing, if I don't do this today, is that going to affect my entire week and make me not be able to function? Am I not going to be able to sleep tonight if I'm not able to do this? Am I not going to be able to eat if I don't do this? You need to be able to get very clear with what it is that's going on with you. And these laws start to open up more and more about what it is that we are, to show you more of where your flaws are. It starts to poke holes at everything. When you read something, you're like, oh, that doesn't apply to me. If that's your first thought, it definitely applies to you, because you're just brushing it off like it's nothing, and it's okay to do that. And then God is sitting there saying, don't do that. So that's a huge thing that you should pay very, very close attention to. It starts to open up and find all the issues that you have that's going on. And you're going to start to realize more of who you are and what actually truly matters. You're going to start finding more and more of that information out. And it's just such a beautiful thing. It's so beautiful. And I'll continue to keep on reading some more and more of this stuff, because there's more in here. But it's nothing that's like just an impossible thing to do. Is it hard? Yeah. Is it challenging? Yeah. It's not impossible. we're able to get through some stuff. And it's not a matter of, I'm going to do it all overnight in one day. I started that mission. I'm not going to lie. I started that mission. I got videos back in the days talking about that. I want to figure all this out this week. No, some of this stuff, it's going to take years for you to figure out. It might take you a decade to figure out because you've been doing it for so long. It's been your whole world. It's been your whole life. It's not something that you're just going to, I'm just going to quit. I'm going to quit right here, right now. No, you're in it and you've been doing it. And you got to figure out how to be able to get out of it. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be very, very hard, very, very challenging. But that's the beauty of this planet, because that's when you start to work on that, you start to notice other things in your life get better. And then you're like, work on this and other things in your life get better. And then you just keep going more and more and more. And then you start to, get addicted to trying to follow the laws and follow the commands and follow the decrees that God is looking for. And then when you get addicted to that, then you start to get the blessings that you're actually looking for. You start to get the peace that you're looking for. You start to get the joy and the freedom that you're looking for. You start to get all of yourself to be able to understand who you are and what you are and why you do what you do and why we do what we do. You start to be able to understand more and more of that. And it's such a beautiful thing. Such an absolutely beautiful thing. And with that, I just want to say thank you for a very interesting day today to hopefully try to help someone out that's struggling right now, that's confused, that thinks that you need to be perfect, you think that you're not going to mess up, to think that you have it in you that you have to display to the world that everything is great, or you got to run away and hide. Then I want to say, like, no. In reality, showing your flaws to everybody is going to make you more relatable to everybody, because people want to see that everything isn't so perfect, everything isn't so wonderful, everything isn't so great with you, because you're not perfect. So stop trying to put out, and that's something that YouTube is challenging with people like to just get on a video and post on a video right when they're in that moment of just that spiritual high. Where you're just like, I'm motivated, I feel so good, I just got out of the gym, I'm gonna make a quick 5-10 minute video and just like, everything is good, life is good, just pray these 5 things and everything, and then they go off into an absolute depression 5 minutes later because that spiritual hit was just a hit. And YouTube is very, very deceiving with making it seem like these people are just always good. They're always happy. They're always just on it. And they do a video every 5 or 6 days or every month even. And they're just come with all this inspiration. You see that, and you're just like, oh man, I'm not that. I'm struggling. I'm not like that. It's like, yeah, we're all out here struggling. We're all out here doing what we're doing to figure out how to be able to get better with each day. And a lot of times you want to be able to show to the world that you are not so on fire and everything is so great. Show us who you are. Talk to us of who you are. Give us a real idea of exactly who you are. And that's I'm telling you, I promise you and guarantee you this. It's going to make sure that other people see that we are alike here. And when we feel like we are alike here, we're able to work with each other to be able to get to a better place. But don't allow people to come in and try to make you go back to doing some old stuff. Kick them out, get them away. But allow people to be able to allow people to see that everything isn't so perfect all the time. Everything isn't so great. All your videos aren't edited the best every single time. Just get out there and do what you got to do. Especially if you're a person that does something every single day. It's not easy because you got to keep something going on. You got to keep something going on. You got to keep on an image. You got to keep on to this. And that's why for me it's been pretty simple, because I just don't care. If I'm not the happiest, I'll still put this video on and still keep going. If I'm super jazzed up, I'll just put this camera on and I'll just keep on going. If I'm just, I don't even know what to say right now, I still just put this camera up and still keep on going. Because I want everyone to see the reality that I'm not just some perfect supreme being. I've got a whole lot of issues. I got this I'm working on, that I'm working on, that I'm working through, this I'm working through, that I got to still fix on. And it's constantly like that all the time, that I keep on reading this Bible over and over and over and over again. My lifetime now, it's only been I'm on the 5th time now. That's nothing in comparison to where I'm going to continue to keep on going with this. So I'm always going to keep on finding something new. I'm always going to keep on learning something new. I'm always going to run into a situation where I'm just like, man, I thought that was all right, but why am I still doing that? That's why I'm still not where I want to be on this planet. That's why I'm still working upon myself. It's going to be a forever thing for the remainder of our lives, to keep on working on ourselves, to keep on working at it. Don't think that you got to be perfect every moment, every time, all the time. That's fake. That's fake. And no one wants to see a fake message. We want to see the reality, the real. When things are hard, things are challenging, when you hot and sweaty because you're working, because you bloodied up, you hurting, you damaged, your hair don't look right. I mean, that's something I can say on my own dang on self. My hair never look right no more anymore. And I just don't care. And the reason I don't care is because listen to what I have to say. And God is going to be able to get you to the understanding of realizing that it just doesn't matter. Certain things just do not matter. And if you're worried about it because of what someone else is going to think of you, I'm telling you, those are the things that God's going to help you with, to let you know that a lot of that just doesn't matter. And I'm thankful to be able to understand who God is and be able to have God to be able to help me and guide me and push me through. And also to be able to sit here and sometimes stand here and do whatever I do here to let someone else get closer and closer to him, to be able to just ask and figure out how to be able to get your peace that you're looking for. And the one way I know it is by listening to his commands, his laws, his decrees will bring you that peace, because that's what we naturally are. And God knows us. He didn't create us and say, oh, later on they're going to change and do this. No, he knows us. He knows all about us. And since he knows us, I would just say and ask and tell you, listen to him, because he knows more than you do. This book knows more than you in your entire life. And it's creepy in a way. It's super creepy to realize that there's a book on this planet that knows more about who you are than you know about who you are. Thank you.